someone who I respect highly. But my Stray Dog family, a lot has transpired since we met or we had a conversation last week, Monday. Politicians continue to trade blows at each other. They also peddle plenty lies as well. And one such politician never ceases to amaze me. He never ceases to remind me as well of my grandmother. I will always speak about my grandmother because that upbringing is a type of upbringing we do not take lightly. And this politician always reminded me of some of the things that my grandmother would say. And when I hear all the lies being peddled, I remember my grandmother would say, a liar is a thief. And strange but true, a friend of mine, our friend and I, was commenting on this politician. And the friend took me by surprise when he said that he made this comment about electing a thief. And he said, I'm sure you have heard it yourselves, if the people want to elect a scamp, then the people have a right to elect a scamp. And I said, beg pardon? And he said to me again, Patches, if the people want to elect a scamp, let the people elect a scamp. And I baffled. And I looked back and I looked at this politician who tried to trade our patrimony, our land, in 2010, and he lost. I look back at 2020, when this politician won, having won in 2015 under the banner of upper unity. Some people say opportunity. Let's call it tonight upport unity. And in 2020, just after he got elected, the court brought down a decision relating to his impropriety. Unfortunately, we don't have, like in the USA, legislation that recall politicians, and that's something we need to consider, because 1 week after being elected in 2020, these two politicians were cited for impropriety by the highest court in the land. And I say this, my Stray Dog family, God forbid, in 2022, if this politician or these politicians are successful, because this one in particular may be the first representative to go to prison. And I don't say that lightly, because he has a case pending for beating a woman, a police woman, and that is still before the court. But this man has, however, 3 strikes. 3 strikes, but he is still in. So this election, I posit the view, is not just about electing politicians. It's about the character of our nation and its people. Tonight, nonetheless, I have come to remind you, my people, that elections are due on or about the 10th or 11th of August 2022. Because I recall, I believe, the parliament was dissolved on May the 10th, 2022. And don't hold me to it, because 90 days after that particular date would put us on the 9th or the 10th or 11th of August. And I asked you not to hold me to that date, because mathematics has been and still is my strongest weak point. But as we prepare for these premature elections, mainly because of 2 misleaders, who we have since found out are just hungry for power and money. One could not wait his turn and demanded that the Governor General, S.W. Tapley Seaton, appoint him as Prime Minister immediately. But both, I can say, are hungry for money as well. One of them committed political suicide just to get his hand on the CBI money, while the other one, without scruples, seems quite comfortable to employ scampish ways, also to engage unscrupulous partners, to dip their hands in the people's money, also to steal the people's goods. Last time I told you about the lights from the Old Road Bay project, but we'll hear much more about that. But my people, despite all these shenanigans, I must remind you tonight that we are living in a world that is filled with complexity. We are living in a world that is filled with unpredictability. And we're living in a world that is filled with uncertainty. The truth is, though, that under Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Sylvester Harris, our economy is on the mend, and we have achieved a good number of our set objectives as we continue to strive for a stronger, safer future. From 2015, a cabinet of ministers maneuvered the ship of state through rough waters. But because of good governance, we never allowed ourselves to be overwhelmed by the challenges that existed. And we had a good leader. To all and sundry, we had a brilliant leader, my Straight Dog family. And we had so many testimonies about this brilliant leader as well. What went wrong is another question. But my Straight Dog family, we had a brilliant leader. I'm sure that all would agree.
Dr. Harris, congratulations, sir, on 5 years as a brilliant Prime Minister and steward of this country. And to my colleagues, I believe that we have all sought to do the best that we can, and that the successes that we've had could not have been possible without you and your support, without the grace of God and His support. And I would ask that we continue in that vein to stay steadfast, on course. We are on the right track with the right leadership to take this country forward and upwards.
My Straight Dog family, that was the 5th year of a celebration of a Team Unity administration on February the 20th, 2020 to be exact. The testimony of a man who, you ask yourselves, what has gone wrong with that man? Recall that we inherited a country that was under the clutches of the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. Although you would hear the former Prime Minister tout the nonsense that he left $900,000 in the Treasury, but he also left a country that was labeled the highest detonation in the world, with a debt to GDP ratio of 200%. It was the brilliant stewardship of Dr. Harris, who managed the economy with sound fiscal prudence. And some of you do not like to hear that, but I must speak the truth. And I want to say here and now, I will always speak the truth. And I will not be one of those dogs that would go back and eat its vomit. Last week, Wednesday, Prime Minister Harris, along with his cabinet, outlined the clear facts to the country that indicated that the government was moving in the right direction as far as continuing to handle one of the gravest and most serious challenges in the country's history. COVID-19 must be the gravest challenge our country has ever faced. He stated that the economic stimulus package would be extended to shield and protect the people of the country and the economy from the continuing impact of the novel coronavirus and now the fallout from the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Consider the escalating fuel costs. Obviously, most Kittitians and Nevisians are aghast at what they must pay at the pump compared to what it was before the Russian-Ukrainian war. Locally, energy prices have risen. And what did the Harris government do? My straight dog family, is a question we ask. What did the Harris government do?
The cost of fuel, which is a major input that drives the generation of electricity, that cost has doubled and would have cost you more in your pockets if the government had not intervened. We have intervened by bailing out Skellig. Government is paying for the fuel. And by government paying for the fuel, government is saving you in your pocket. At least for the month of May, it is estimated something like $5 million. Had it not been for the intervention of government, Skellig will probably be forced to put on what we call a surcharge, and then you will really feel it in your pocket.
Yes, my straight dog family. Government, in the process of bailing out Skellig, has sought to buy its fuel and keep the cost of electricity down. Kittitians and Nevisians are forced to cut back on the purchases of gasoline and conserve electricity, considering the fuel prices that are being driven up because of the circumstances I outlined earlier. Hooray, we must say, for the eventual commissioning of the 36 megawatt solar farm at Kitts-Nevis, my straight dog family. Hooray, after 2 years, this commissioning is being done.
By way of solar farm energy, the farm is expected to produce 30% of the energy needs of St. Kitts, thereby creating an opportunity for the reduction in cost of electricity. The project has been tied up for the past 2.5 years, and I am pleased to inform you that all of the hurdles have now been removed since I have become the minister, and Skellig signed off on the agreement last week. I'm advised and verily believe that work is expected to commence in a few days' time. I am told by the middle of June.
My straight dog family, a very important project like the solar farm held up for nigh 2 years. There's no excuse for that. While the costs of electricity kept mounting and mounting and mounting. A lot have been said about the solar farm being constructed by Leclanche. But bear in mind, my straight talk, that there is no capital outlay for the government or from the government and people of St. Kitts and Nevis. The cost to construct this farm is a whopping $70 million, and that's US dollars. So put that in our real money, that's about nigh $200 million. Not a cent did the government or SCELEC have to put out. Government, of course, has leased the land for this development. But important to note that after 20 years, SCELEC and or the government and or SCELEC would have the option to take over the farm, which I hope they will do, because one of the conditions precedent to starting this project is that they would train local people to maintain and to manage that solar farm project. And they will have the option to, as I said, take over the farm, the solar farm that is, as built, which means in the same condition it was in 2020. But my people, these are difficult times. And in these difficult times and periods of uncertainty, St. Kitts-Nevis cannot afford to gamble our future with the leadership of people like Sean Richards and or Mark Brantley. The latter, Brantley, for the past 4 years, never balanced one NIA budget. He assumed the office of Premier in 2018, and since then, he has never balanced one NIA budget. Listen how he operates, my Straight Dog family, because this is what Mark Brantley told the country of Nevis in December, on December 7th to be exact. This is what he said to his people.
We are prepared to project that we shall collect the amount of $131.4 million in recurrent revenue. We expect our recurrent revenue to be augmented by the remittance of at least $45 million from the federal government in respect of a share of revenue under the CBI program. Our combined total recurrent revenue for the upcoming fiscal period 2022 is therefore projected at $176.4 million. The expenditure budget for the upcoming fiscal year is set at $229 million. We are prepared to project that we shall collect the amount of $131.4 million in recurrent revenue. We expect our recurrent revenue to be augmented by the remittance of at least $45 million from the federal government in respect of a share of revenue under the CBI program. Our combined total recurrent revenue for the upcoming fiscal period 2022 is therefore projected at $176.4 million.
Have you got those figures, my Straight Talk family? Mark Brantley, in his budget presented in December 2021 for the fiscal year 2022, projected expenditure of $229 million. But yet, for revenue, he has projected $131.4 million. So he starts his budget with a $98 million deficit. $98 million. And he comes to St. Kitts and he begs and gets $45 million, which is a share, rightfully no doubt, for the people and government of Nevis. So with that $45 million, he is still $53 million in the red. Mark Brantley's dance in Nevis cannot pay for the lights. And thanks to Timothy Harris, who reduced his budget deficit from $98 million to $53 million. It tells you, my Straight Dog family, that under the Premier Mark Brantley, the Nevis economy has gone into recession. Mark Brantley has run Nevis broke. And instead of addressing that real issue, Mark Brantley, like a little boy, has chosen to discuss and boast about his blue suede shoes and his expensive watch. Could you imagine that, my Straight Dog family?
Blue suede shoes here, I buy them from my own money. Mark Brantley never bet no watch and no shoe from nobody yet. And that's why they're vexed with me. Because if you don't like me, that is okay. And you know why they don't like me? Because my suit look good and my jacket can button. And you see this watch here? I buy it from my own money. And you see them blue suede shoes here? I buy them from my own money. Mark Brantley never bet no watch and no shoe from nobody yet. And that's why they're vexed with me. Because if you don't like me, that is okay. And you know why they don't like me? Because my suit look good and my jacket can button.
Is that what we look for in a leader, my Straight Dog family? Imagine that. Should we put such a character back into Parliament? These are some of the questions we'll have to ask ourselves. While he, Alexis Jeffers, and Eric Evelyn gets 2 salaries, they take home 2 salaries each month. The poor civil servants in Nevis are all feeling the squeeze under Brantley. Believe me, my Straight Dog family.
For the period of 6 months, the suspension of all overseas travel for all public servants, unless these travels are fully funded. Maintain the monthly travel allowance payable to all public servants at 50%. Deferral of increments to civil servants. Deferral of any promotions of officers or upgrading their salaries and wages.
That's the situation in Nevis, my Straight Dog family. The poor civil servants. Gasoline prices gone up, but they have cut the traveling allowance of these officers by 50%. 50%. They have deferred all increments to all civil servants. That reminds you of Douglas, doesn't it? He has deferred all promotions of officers or upgrade in their salaries and wages. And we know what he did. When we paid 10%, got the money to pay 10%, but he paid the divisions 5%. And that is sad, sad for my people in Nevis. My people, Mark Brantley has found a convenient ally in Sean Richards. I say convenient because Sean Richards hated every bone in Mark Brantley's body for the last 5 years, or for those 5 years that we sat in cabinet together. And I can testify to that. But it is said that a drowning man will clutch at a straw. And that epitomizes Sean Richards. But tell you the truth, Sean Richards needs a raft, as a straw cannot save his political life. My heart goes out to Sean Richards, who has lost a golden opportunity to possibly lead this country. And that was his intention. Sean intended to lead this country, but I say he has lost that opportunity, my Straight Dog family.
My intention, it is not something that I'm backing away from, and so I stand resolute in terms of that particular intention. I have said quite publicly that I intend to be the next Prime Minister, and indeed that is my intention. It is not something that I'm backing away from, and so I stand resolute in terms of that particular intention.
My straight talk family, I'm afraid you have lost that opportunity. He promised the next Prime Minister will come from Sandy Point, but he followed the wrong crowd. Sean got bad advice when he chose to boycott the cabinet. Sean got bad advice when he chose to boycott the cabinet, my straight dog family.
The last thing I was told is that the report has been altered and my name has been removed from the report. I went to cabinet and I complained about it again because I said I was told that my name has been removed from the report. But based on reliable information, my name still included in the police report. And I took a decision there and then that until this matter is cleared up, I am not coming back to any cabinet meeting.
Bad advice, I say he got. His relationship with Halstead Isles, my straight dog family, is something else we can look at. It was always risky. No matter what he claimed about his bank transactions, his relationship with Halstead Isles will forever be risky.
About the premier of Tatola got himself in some issues. A friend of mine, they tried to associate me with it. I understand that their next try is going to be about Skellig. They say how I have paid off for my house in Crabbill. Yes, I have paid off for my house in Crabbill. I have a villa that I purchased over at Horizons. I borrowed the money from Horizon Bank, from Republic Bank to pay for it. I have a mortgage that I pay of over $6,300 a month in respect of the villa. I have piece of land I purchased over Half Moon, and I pay National Bank about $1,700 a month for the piece of land. That's why I got all kind of vehicles. I ain't got thing to hide. That's why I got accounts all over the place.
My straight dog family, someone sent me a message and reminded us that the salary of the Deputy Prime Minister is just over $13,000 per month. So it's a fair question to ask, as the person asks me, if Sean Richards lives on grass to survive. But the truth is, Sean Richards cannot be trusted to lead this country. And to my PAM friends, I mean no disrespect to my members and friends of the People's Action Movement. But Sean Richards has failed you as a leader. What is left of PAM is Lindsey Grant and Jonel Powell. But they too have failed the People's Action Movement, and by extension, they have failed the country. Lindsey had 3 strikes, and he must be out. And the only thing to say about Jonel Powell, who has failed to distance himself from this corrupt character, is birds of a feather, they flock together. On the other side, Terence Drew is overshadowed by Denzel Douglas, who Labour has dubbed simply the best. Yes, Labour has dubbed Douglas simply the best. If you think I am telling you any lies, and straight talk don't tell lies, Douglas has been dubbed by Labour as simply the best. And he has said time and time again that he is the best. Douglas, simply the best, my straight dog family. I'll find it for you just now. I tell you, we always bring you the facts on Straight Talk.
You're gonna help me to welcome to the podium, hailing from constituency number 6, Llewellyn Douglas.
Wow! Simply the best! Better than all the rest! It's only one edition of Douglas. Limited and sold edition is right here before you today.
My Straight Talk family, Terence Drew, remember, only got 45% of the vote from the rank and file in his quest to become the Labour Party leader. So the rank and file of Labour, Denzel Douglas is better than all the rest. But the question that arises in all of this, my people, is the country ready for another bout of Douglas? Across the Narrows, Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge and her Nevis Reformation Party, the NRP, are in search of. They imagine a better Nevis that will reconnect the peoples of St. Kitts and Nevis. And that's noble. That's noble, my Straight Talk family.
When an NRP premier, whether it was Simeon Daniel or Joseph Parry, NRP would have seen its best days when an NRP premier was at the helm. Both of those premiers were members of the federal government, and regardless of the trials, they accomplished what they set out to do. And they accomplished what they set out to do without mashing up a federal government. And that speaks to what the NRP leaders stood for in terms of accomplishing their goal. With NRP at the helm, Nevis prospered at the federal level as well as the local level. There's a simple reason for that, and that is because Nevis has always been the first priority for NRP.
Yes, with Parry and Daniel, two Nevision premiers, and I will add the late Vance Amory, Nevis prospered. Under Mark Brantley, Nevis is fast becoming a failed country. Mark Brantley and his CCM is destructive and least productive, according to Janice Daniel Hodge. Let me get that right.
Servants. Did you ever see that on the NRP? Not on the NRP. You would agree with me when I say CCM would be recorded in history as the most disruptive, least productive, and most self-aggrandizing government. And now they have lost their way. When you look at the relationship between the CCM-led NIA and the federal government, we must recognize that this is the worst relationship that we have seen between the NIA and the federal government. And so I would say to you tonight, the future of Nevis depends squarely on the decisions that you take and how you vote on election day.
Well, the future of St. Kitts and Nevis depends on how we vote. And to add or rub salt, as we say colloquially, into the economic wounds of Nevis, The public debt in Nevis is nigh $500 million.
I wish to report that the total debt for the central government as at October 31st, 2021 stood at $440.1 million.
The public debt, nearly $500 million in Nevis. Mark Brantley has failed Nevisians. How can he want to be a leader in the federal government? How did we get here? The country's asking. We are here because of 6 irresponsible politicians that we need to weed out of the parliament in St. Kitts-Nevis. 2 of them I told you about. John L. Powell and Lindsey Grant. When they come to canvass your vote, my family, in number 4 and or in number 2, cite the 10 commandments for them. Or you should just cite one of the 10 commandments. Thou shalt not steal. In number 5, we heard that Noah built an ark and took almost 100 years. In just under 2 years, Sean Richards built an ark for Noah. Someone called in to the program and said the ark has 2 mills. But Sean built an ark for Noah in just under 2 years. He ran down Skellig that had a $31 million reserve. He built a hut for $250,000 that he says he don't know about. Or a hut was built, I should say, for $250,000 that he says he don't know about. He bought 4 condominiums you heard him speak about. He gave away the old road bay lights. And the project has a 3-month delay. The other 3 of them, all they have done was to collect 2 salaries. Imagine, Brantley, Jeffords, and Evelyn, in 1 month, carried home combined over $150,000. I did a little exercise. If they had given $1,000 to the people of Nevis, over 150 families would have benefited. Imagine that. Are these the caliber of politicians we need to run our country? My people, these are unprecedented times. These are not ordinary times, my people. The road ahead will be extremely difficult, and for that reason, we must demand strong, bold, decisive, tested, and mature leadership. That is my story for tonight, and I am not going to change it. But as I go to the lines, I must ask you the question tonight. Who is the best leader for a better St. Kitts and Nevis? I almost want to say, we all know the answer, but I want the answer from you. I'm going to open the lines and entertain your calls and your emails. The numbers are 646-829-6672. 646-829-6672. 6672, beg your pardon, for those in the diaspora, those on the overseas network. For those locally, the number is 663-6672. I want to implore you, my straight dog family. I want to implore you, my straight dog family. When I do so, I anticipate that you would respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned. Let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let us ensure that the things you say and or do will be beneficial to all concerned. And in doing and saying those things, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts-Nevis. It's 3 minutes before the 9 o'clock hour. We started pretty late tonight, and I apologize for that, but I'll give you back that time, my Straight Talk family, as long as you demand it. Caller, you're live.
Hey, Patrice, good evening, sir.
Good evening, my brother. How are you?
Oh, good. Well, I didn't know. I'm here. I'm talking to you live.
Yes, you're live on radio. The whole world is listening to you.
And this is, okay, because I was watching, I said everything is mashed in sinkers. Nobody know when the election, because people maintain me that they say you're too old. I said, how this can be that stuff? Don't tell me anybody over 40 is not a thing. So I wonder what's going on with you. I talked to politics about it to the first time I see him in years. And he's telling me some other story. Some guys by the taxi stand to call me over. I said, whatever they say, Patrick is the most honest among them all. Because the story in town is that you and Harry followed. So I said, the election is up in the air now. Nobody knows what's going to happen. So when I tune in late, I just tune in a few minutes. And, you know, I hear you talking. I was watching TV, say everything is messed up. Oh my God! So what's going on? I need to know what's going on, man. You need to contact me. You need to know what's happening. Anyhow, let me tell people: without you, nothing is gonna. You're the most decent and most patriotic to all of them. You don't play around with them, okay? You mean well for tickets. So we need to get this thing sorted out. But age. 2-3 people talk to me. Somebody called me by the taxi. I didn't even go over there. I tell them I was busy. Cause everything is messed up. So because you know what's happening in Sinkers. I couldn't believe when I turned on the radio this evening. I said, let me just go listen. So I was late. So please, Patrick, whatever you do, please don't. These are the guys you say, oh my Jesus. Sinkers is in a best position for you. But Patrick, I'll talk to you again. Good to hear you, man.
Good to hear as well.
And all you people, all you guys are saying, Patrick, and think, please, Patrick, whatever you could do, please do something for Sinkers. The place is a mess. Have a good one, sir.
Have a good one as well, my dear brother. And I can only say that there comes a time in everyone's life when he or she must move on. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you are live. Hello, caller.
That is good night. Good night.
Good night, my brother. Politics. How about thou?
Oh man, I'm here just hanging in listening. Tonight, you know, up until the night. So I just listen out to hear the straight come on.
Thank you for that.
And to say what I got to say.
Thank you for that.
So, Patrick, first, you know, my opening statement is always, I want to thank God for the Federation of St. Kitts-Nevis, a country that I born into, and I live up to now and doing well, trying to help out my people in whatever I could help them. I will help them do what I can do. And I just want to commend the leader of the PLP, the Honorable Dr. Timothy Harris. And I just want the people of this country to stop, look, and listen. Because Sam was in government with PLP. Mark Brandy was in government with the system with the PLP as the federal cabinet. And they refuse to serve the people because of the political greed and the political ignorance and hunger for power. When I listen to Mark Brandy talk about Sigway and Fishy and all kind of things, I still have to listen to him. And it's all about greed and power. And anytime he comes to win with the 3 seat and he wins 3 million, it's going to be the same thing with she and Sean. Because Mark is looking for this power. Power. He ain't have the love to Nevis people. If he have love to Nevis people, He will never do what he do to set up this unity government. He will never do what he got to do to Patches. But Patches, God is love and God is looking over us. He's looking over us. And I call on the good citizens of this federation. We know we had a good unity government going. But doing so well. Ordinary man and woman. They might come on and boast. So the unity is the best you could have ever had. And the unity was the best they ever have with the leader. Dr. Timothy Harris at the hem. At the hem of the leader. And all about the different parts of the world. People's praise sing it. With Dr. Harris as the leader. So how we get this done. Especially in the crisis and the pandemic. And different things. Patches, I just call in and the people, especially the young men and women. I just walk around some young man, the village up here. I just go and converse with them. And they give me the assurance. They give me the assurance they don't want to kill her. And I just want Dr. Harris, when the bell rings, I want the people to go in and march Dr. Harris back down in government quarters because he deserves it. But he deserves it. I don't care what candidate come late. But yes, you have a wonderful night. If I get that. God bless you.
Thank you very much, my dear brother. And no one, it's difficult for anyone to question the performance of Timothy Harris. I still ask the question though, who is the better leader for a better, who is the best leader, I should ask, for a better St. Kitts and Nevis? It's 9:04. I go to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Yes, caller, you're live. Caller, you're listening to your radio, your equipment. You're live. Caller, yes, the Bible man. Good night, sir.
I'm going to tell you something, you hear me? A lot of people don't know what's going down. But I stay on my bed. And this thing will reveal to me. One, you see how the unity government was going good, sweet, and nobody know how we get mad at you reason. One day I tuned into Freedom FM. I heard a certain gentleman said, and I can bust it from tonight. A certain gentleman said, and I'm calling nobody name, that my Brantley and Sean Richard must act now. Because if they leave the Prime Minister, if Timothy Harris there, he's going to come the next Prime Minister. And the person and the host asked him, well, what's going to happen? He said, well, if Francis Haley and Sean start to get her and Timothy back, that's complete. And I listened to them good. And they were planning for Mr. Harris. And from the time I hear that day, I lock out the radio. And about a month after, I hear the thing that they start. And so Mark Bandy, the fella, went and and they started to do the thing. That was a plot And that was a plan. They want to get you leader at Timothy Harris. And nobody tell me, Father, I will be on freedom. So you want to know how it happened? When all of them was saying Mr. Harris is the best friend, but they went flat up again because a fella from Kayan, that's what he want. So he believed himself to really get, to mass up the unity government. They had to do them kind of thing there.
Okay, got
and it hit me. And it hit me.
Okay, John.
That my is saying that Timothy match it up. And he know that he might come up.
Okay, got you level and clear.
All right, you take care. I will get back.
Thank you very much for input, the Bible man. And it is common knowledge who, as to use your other local language, who mashed up Team Unity. The 6 misleaders they did. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Are you there, caller?
Good night, how are you?
I am peaceful, my dear. I almost said Alice in Wonderland. Sounds just like Alice.
I hope you get me message.
You keep saying about this message and I don't get this message.
Well, I want to thank God for still life. You talk the things they want to know if he was coming. Right? Mr. Liburd?
Yes.
I am a palm in Dr. Simmons' time. He was doing good until Labour overthrew him. The second palm take Timothy Harris, our best Prime Minister, because they know he was coming with something good. He has done more in 5 years than in 20. Don't matter who he comes from. They know they did not want him since 5 years ago. Why? And it's just 2 years, 3 more to go. Why take him back? They know all along there was no unity with him. They remain calm. They never tell us. They leave in. They know they're wrong. They want to be Prime Minister and don't want to wait. 10 men in one coming back to finish. If his people was getting and still getting, and these was not looking for their people who put them there. Who is the better, you say? Harris again.
Got you loud and clear. That's the question we're asking tonight. Who is the best leader for a better St. Kitts? Caller, you're live. It's 9:10. Yes, caller?
Yeah, good evening, Honorable. Good evening, Honorable Patches, Liburd.
Good evening, my brother. Turn your equipment, turn your radio on. I want the King Rockefeller to be heard loud and clear. I'm going to wait for you. Give me 10 seconds. I know you move around slow, but I'll wait for you. Go ahead. Turn your radio on.
Yeah, good evening again to you.
Good evening, my brother.
First, I want to congratulate you to come on this show tonight to voice your opinion and so on. But I will tell you who is the best leader the country of St. Kitts-Nevis ever had. The Honorable Timothy Harris. And he will remain a leader for this country. Don't care what they say, don't care what they think about. It can be Harris again. And Patches, do not waste time with them jog-along people. Because they have nothing to say but propaganda. So lead them to the foot of the cross and study what your son told you. Daddy, be strong. Patches, God bless St. Kitts-Nevis. God bless the Prime Minister and the cabinet, what he have now. And we will move on to victory in a short time now. God bless you, Patches. Good night.
Good night, my brother. God bless you as well. You know, and it seems as though a lot of us came up with our grandmothers. Because my grandmother used to say, as just noted by the king of the King Rockefeller, king of the people, Granny used to say, leave them at the foot of the cross. So we leave them all at the foot of the cross. Caller, you're live.
Okay.
Hello, caller.
A very pleasant good evening to you, Patches.
It is a pleasant evening, my brother. Good evening to you as well.
Yes, man. You're doing fine because you sound fine.
God has been
good.
And
as usual,
God has been good.
I want to thank you. I want to really bring out the truth. 6 boys who stop after years. One of them on December's budget, every one of them get up and make this speech and say it is a wonderful budget. None of them complain about it. They all agree. One was talking about free shield for 6 years. But now because it's Kitts-Nevis and criminal but why don't he tell them and show them what he do with the $400 million that he get from the federal government? So when he went and he said that the social agreement, the child agreement at the courthouse step, that they shoot them. He is such a brilliant lawyer that he should have known better that an agreement pertaining to money from the federal government that should be coming out to Nevis, that should be debated in cabinet, and then they all agree in cabinet, and then they come out in parliament, and they debate it out there along with the opposition party. And when they win, because they had more 4 years than what they made, then when they win that would have been controlled by the Constitution of the Federation. But you know the reason why he didn't go that far with it? Because once the Constitution is passed on that is law. And he cannot go back and tell Dr. Harris he wants 66 million more or 15 million no more. But you know, once he hasn't been passed, he could go and beg every minute, give me 45 million, give me this more. That is why he do it. And he believes because he's a lawyer, he could outsmart people. You don't have to go up on the moon, you don't have to go to college to study all that. Is common sense, put people into college. That is, I want to tell Sean, he had a good thing going for him.
He lost it.
For 5 years, he was trained by the best.
Yes, he lost
Dr. Harris. And all of a sudden, he let Mark Blanty tell him, you got one bird in your hand, throw it away. When Mark had 2. And when you don't throw a bird, Mark ain't giving 1. And see where he is now? Suffering. Catches our comeback. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my dear brother. And we want to apologize for the quality of that call in the beginning. And yes, Sean Richards lost his opportunity. And he must be punished. He must be punished for the things he has done. Caller, you are live. Yes, caller?
Good night, Mr. Liburd.
Good night, my brother. Could you turn your radio, your equipment off?
No, it's a church.
A church?
Near to me. Yeah.
And you haven't gone to church?
It's a Spanish church.
Oh, no habla español. Okay, I understand. Okay.
Yeah, I just want to find out from you. I was in a supermarket this afternoon, and a lady told me that patches, the tunnel patches, because Mr. Tunnel patches.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you need to know something. Mr. Liburd is the ambassador still.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't have no time to run for the election. So people must have walk and tell lies. And the radio station was saying, oh, little people didn't want him. He was to come up to give out gifts. And he was to come up to give out that. But nobody wanted him. See, he lose already and he'll lose again. Mm-hmm. So, I didn't...
Well, I'm coming back just for information, since you raised that, right? As part of my ministry of giving, I will have a Father's Day of function for the fathers. I'm going to focus on the fathers on Father's Day. I will provide some more details on that, but my ministry of giving will continue. I can assure you that.
But people must work and stop use propaganda on you, because even though you still the ambassador, why is the Prime Minister is going to turn away and he know you're the ambassador? But if you say, well, look, I am the ambassador, I'm going to stick to the ambassador and let somebody else run in number one for me. But I will support the person. But when they have to be talking about the Prime Minister turn the taxes and see this terror, as though well, it is something in the arm. How much people Dr. Douglas turn with?
Okay, my brother.
And again, I want to tell the Honorable Wendy, please to continue doing what she is doing. Because what happens to them at the UDC? Is she out of the still doing her work? I'd like to know, please to follow up on all of the portfolios from Dr. Lincoln, Mr. Sean Richard, and other ministers who did wrong to break up this unity, because nobody had wanted to go back for an election. But now the Friday time to say that they have things in plan if the ratings and all that things. When they was in the Dr. Timothy Harris, they could use all of that deal. But now that they're out and they want to back in, they want to pull out the people, it is Harris again. It is Harris again. And people like Liburd, Mr. Jupan and Mr. Aspas and all of them should stop with the lying thing, because I have a lot of respect. I have a lot of respect for them still. But when I see somebody saying something wrong, I'm telling them wrong.
Okay.
So I don't like to know that the country going on a bad road. I want the country to forward. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, my dear brother. And I can assure you that, my brother, that the people will make their decision, and the best decision. Well, this will be an election, not just about electing politicians. We certainly don't want, if those guys, for example, let's look at it. After the 2020 elections, the Team Unity administration had a majority, had 9 members in the parliament. And now you mash up Team Unity and come in and talk about electoral reform. Your 9 members would have amended the Constitution without any obstacle whatsoever. But now you're coming back and telling us you're going to do this and do that? Oh, nonsense. We won't accept that. Caller, you are live. Hello, caller, you're live. Are they caller? Thank you.
This is Dumpling Harris.
Dumpling, turn your radio down. Turn your radio down, could you?
In the neighbor radio. The radio condom.
Dumpling Harris, good night.
Good night.
How are you?
A good God. When you stick up in the ear, it falls back hard in your face. Catch it? I stay where I be. Stay where you be. And me Dumpling Harris here. I hear laying down on me sick bed.
You sick?
And me moving. I spoke with my Lord, and I asked him the Lord to help my Prime Minister, and I'm sure he will win the election. No matter what. The Harvey, that when you're calling on the radio, they're saying that the Prime Minister paying you. But me Prime Minister ain't give me the money to call. I just go buy clothes and put her on the vehicle plan for them. And I don't know where to get this stupidness from. Because all the time, catches, I work for them. And up to December on, when people asking questions that they hear, that they break up, they say, no. They want to break up the unity government. We living good. We're going forward. So how come now, 2 to 3 months after now, oh my God, they're saying how this Prime Minister is so bad. But I can remember when I recall him, 2020, and I tell you about the two, Kitts-Nevis. You understand? When they want to start, they want the governor to say destruction. So, and now it's 11. And courage tell them, courage tell them so. And the no leave them Timothy there. Harris again. Harris again. I can't stop it. See you.
Thank you very much, Dumpling Harris. I must apologize for the quality of that call. I'm challenged to understand how is it your neighbor's radio is creating that feedback, but I guess your neighbor and you, Dumpling Harris, are close. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Yes, sir.
I'm just calling to say, well, then if you are the chosen, you got to be the best. And that is Dr. Sylvester Harris. Long live the king. And those words will live on. Long live the king. He is the chosen one. If he is not, this country will see. And they will know that he was the chosen. Just like Christ was the chosen one, but they didn't know, then they will know if they don't choose him. They will know that he was the chosen one. God bless you, my brother. Long live the king.
God bless you as well, my brother. Dr. Timothy Sylvester Harris, the chosen one, according to that caller. Long live the king. Saying good night to Alison in Barbados, hailing my brothers and sisters in Montserrat, and what about Jamaica, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and just across there in Antigua and Barbuda. 924, caller, you live. Hello, caller. My dear brother Jam Down, good night. How art thou?
How are you, my brother?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
Again, jump on the key. Jump on the electricity thing where the Prime Minister signed, and he talked about anything. And then talk about the rally, 240 million, what they said is. I mean, how they tell these people to come and tell him, Kitty Sean, who ain't going to college like them. But you know, I want to understand that, you know. I want them to understand that people is not stupid. I'm condemning everything today and the sugar workers radio station. The up to now here, nobody who mess up this country finances could talk to them now. I don't want to hear that. Millions done when they're talking. I don't want to hear them. I mean, you got to man handle the finances of this country and put us where we could be. It's greedy a lot of these people. That's why they mash up unity. But I could tell them they're going to stay with me because the whole country, what? It's for them. And he not nothing. He nothing that for himself. The Prime Minister has to punish them, show them. Especially when he start this one-on-one. Because the man is so brilliant. The man is, when I'm asking him for, because he was behind them calabash and people go and shake their hand. Like some of them feel like they more than the supporters. And they must tell where they be. We will put them where they be. And they have to get punished for what they do to their supporters. They have to get punished. Again, you be strong. And these young people coming through to solve this country, we don't give them real support. Because nobody fool. Particularly God, you know up there and everything, you know. And then warning the Prime Minister, you know, when we go back there and warn him public infrastructure. Because you have shown the country how a minister must work for people. That's what I want them to know. But you don't care about that with the time. You don't try them. You must solve this country well. And the common knows that he and that is right on. So teach them to you. Continue, God bless you. We know you're good. You know me.
And I know you.
And I know you know people. I'm a good day. So you are valid for me.
Thank you very much, my dear brother. Jam down. You know, from 2015, we maneuvered the ship of state through rough waters. And it was because of good governance. It was because of good governance. We never allowed ourselves to be overwhelmed by the challenges that existed. And we had a good leader who tackled the public debt, which was 200% our GDP, the GDP ratio, or the debt to GDP ratio, I should say, was 200%. Crime. We were the murder capital of the world. And on top of the debt issue and the crime issue, and Harris managed the economy with sound fiscal prudence. And some people don't like to hear that. But I'm going to speak the truth. But think about COVID-19. It had to be this most serious challenge, the gravest challenge our country has ever faced. And look at what was done. No, the fallout from the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Caller, you're live. Caller, turn your radio down. Turn your radio down, could you? Yes, sir.
And I'm back. Again.
Yes, John, go ahead.
Listen. When God put a vaccine, He put a vaccine for a season. In a like a man. So, in David, to put the hardship on the poor people. And 600 17%.
When God
They call? Okay, we seem to have lost that caller. We're having some difficulties with the quality of our calls tonight, and I do apologize for that. But the numbers again are 663-6672. As we go straight back to the lines, call you live.
Yeah, good night. I'd like to say congratulations to Dr. Drew winning for the first time along with 5 other of his comrades. And can you please pass the Prime Ministership on to Nevis, to Dr. Lady Danielle, please? Nevis need a chance now. Everybody don't have the chance on fail, and we need a woman leader. And not only that, but we need to show Nevis that they are part of the Federation as well. Thank you and good night.
Thank you very much, caller. I wonder what Dr. Drew wonder. There's a message I want to read, because one thing with Straight Talk, this host entertains everyone. This host entertains all shades of opinion, even for those who hide behind the cloak of anonymity. And for those who want to hide the cloak of anonymity, I tend to expose them. And this one goes by the name of Earl Smithson, whom I know very well. And I can simply ignore the email and not read it. But I want to read it because that's the kind of host I am. That's the individual that I am. No criticism is too much for me to absorb, because each one learn or should learn from criticism. And this email reads, self-check from Earl Smith. Patches, have you ever taken the time out to listen to yourself? Apart from chatting garbage, you have a very poor command of the English language. In fact, when you speak, you also sound choked up and constipated. No wonder you do be spewing so much that's not a word to be read on radio. Your mouth always seems to be ahead of your brains. Don't waste your time ranting and raving, for I say what I have to say, and I don't waste time listening to your garbage. In fact, a decent, intelligent, and honest lady will be having a meeting tonight, and I will spend my time listening to sense. By the way, your illegal bandits are in firing mode, so you can find out where I am working and get them to fire me. And that's coming from Earl Smithson. Thanks for your input, and thanks for listening to Straight Talk, even though you said you don't listen to the poo-poo. That's what we call it. Caller, you're live. Thank you for holding. Hello, caller.
Yes.
My dear.
Patches.
Yes, my dear.
Good night.
Good night, my dear.
Yes, Patches, what I want to say you tonight, right? Because, not the talk about the Charleston thing when they went to sign, but do you know, 2016 when we were campaigning, we also talk about the preschool, they were paying money, and the elementary school paying for school lunch, and think it's one done move. But people in Nevis, the preschool, them still paying for school lunch, and in the elementary school. So I want to know if that is fair share or unfair. And when a prime minister, a leader, a premier going voting up on these expensive coaches and stocks and things, how that is fair share? Fair share for he. And then he's talking about the prime minister paying them money for campaign. They don't have the money for campaign. That is when he looking out for the people in Nevis. And he's a part of Nevis. Like he gonna look out for the people in Nevis. He have to look out for all. And I'm more believing that the woman she ain't supporting NRP, she's supporting the people. She's representing everybody. And I think that people need to give the lady a fair share, because I think she will deliver for Nevis. Not nobody who won't bought off an expensive car and jacket and this and that. That's not fair share. the children them in school and the parents them also want to vote off that they stop paying school fee for lunch to the children too. That is one we will campaign in 2015, okay? So all that is unfair to the people in Nevis. And he and the leader down here for the Labour Party, the farmer leader, I made to understand, then they had a talk. And that is where you see they try to mash up the unity government because they don't want the leader to come to be the prime minister because somebody tell me and he said so. You think me stupid now? Me don't want him to be the prime minister. So we here talk about, he know what he dealing with. He need to go take care of everybody in Nevis and not see a for he. That is, you have a blessed night. I got more to talk, but you show it's very short. So I'll get back to you, okay? So you need to get the children them in the head start. Also, get here. Good night, Tashiz.
My dear, sounds like the warrior from the east, but the fact is, Nevis has a public debt of near $500 million, over 440 or 60 something $million. Nevis under Mark Bantley is heading, God forbid, to be in a failed state. Imagine he tables a budget in the parliament with a $98 million deficit, budget in the red. Recurrent expenditure in Nevis is $189 million out of his $221 million budget. Is that a man you want in our federal parliament to run the treasury? Of course not. But the question I'm asking tonight, who is the best leader for a better St. Kitts and Nevis? I've heard you. Many of you have made the point. One caller said we should give Dr. Daniel Hodge a chance to be Prime Minister. In time, we will determine the possibility. Caller, you're live.
Yes, Patrice.
So,
the best leader to us has been an exhibition 2015 now, and he will be until you had enough. Give somebody a chance. None has ever walked so none has ever come even with him, and none can go in front of him. The best leader that ever come out of St. Kitts-Nevis. And the next one who was behind Dr. Harris is the late Mr. Van Zemery. And God knows what he's doing. Because I believe if Mr. Amery was alive today, he would have been so ashamed that he wouldn't even want to go back Nevis. Now let me deal it down here. The Minister, Ms. Benedict, had a meeting, had a press conference, and she read out all the different things that we need to know, especially those that we never know. And then Mr. Lindsey Grant, who has no authority to come and condemn mistakes and to say he's vying to be a leader, 3 strikes in baseball and you're out. Lindsey had 3 strikes. The first one, he come on and he said, when he come Prime Minister, he gonna give the sugar workers X amount of acres of land. That was a good gesture. But then he gets so greedy and he went over figure in a room with a man who he don't know for interview and chatting out of him out, and he kicked down the good suggestion he gave. By greediness, tell him he will give him X amount, he asked him, and what a horse can do. And then the man, 2010, and he didn't even know that he was set up by his biggest enemy in politics. He went to sit down and he let him down all and over. Now he coming back talking about stock. Is it? She ain't telling no lies. And the best deputy prime minister we ever have in St. Kitts is Mr. Honorable Eugene Hamilton. He exhibited that at the conference, at the convention over Cairn. He stood up, he spoke like a gentleman, he spoke like a statesman, and he maintained that statesmanship, and that is what I was him for. Because he see that Dr. Harris is the best thing. Dr. Harris is not Ali talking about blue sack and watch where he born and all and kind of foot of a country. Talk about the issues. Talk about what's for the country. Don't come and abuse Dr. Whatever anybody and they give him if he was $1,000 or somebody said, girl, I like how we look. Or fellow, I like how we be. He said, take this and go. So he chatting nonsense. So Dr. Harris, you are going good and we're behind you. And what happened now is that the children, that the crowd for you, all young, middle young, everybody, following Dr. Harris because you are the best leader. Keep it up, Dr. Harris. Patriots, have a good night. Thank you very much.
Have a good night, my dear brother. And yes, believe it or not, this is what a leader is presenting to us.
Sweat shoes here, I buy them from my own money. Mark Bradley never beg no watch and no shoe from nobody yet. And that's why they're vexing me. Because if you don't like me, that is okay. And you know why they don't like me? Because my suit look good and my jacket can button.
And that's what's coming from a leader. Instead of dealing with the issues, the real issues in Nevis, a near $500 billion, a near $500 million debt in Nevis, civil servants not getting their increment, travel allowance cut by 50% in spite of the escalating fuel costs, promotions are denied. Instead of addressing the issues for the people of Nevis, he's talking about watch and shoes. Is that the kind of leader we need in this country? COVID-19, as I said before, was the gravest challenge our country has ever faced. And without a leader like Harris, ask yourselves where we would have been. Caller, who is the best leader for a better St. Kitts and Nevis? It's 9:44, you're live.
That is Dr. Timothy Harris is the best leader from the past record. For the 7 years he was there, he has done well for the federation. Yes, I think he has done well for me. But that is I mean, Tuesday I went by the health center to collect some medication. And I walked to Irish Town, come to Irish Town, walk to Irish Town. And I met some young fellows there. I don't even know the come here man, you're the man, you want I said, what are going on? I said, man, we hear the schooling, you know. I said, well, why I think for going on in the country right now? Why I feel what's going on in the country? Why I stand for? He said, what you stand for? Man, we arrange. I said, you are sure you arrange? They said, like, well, Cam was in government, you know. Cam was in government, and they refused to some people, you know. Cam was in government, and then they continue talking, and and I said, why, what? I asked one of them, what you going to support? You going to support Labour, you going to support Labour, man, you know. Yeah, me? You crazy, me could go back to the West with Labour, why you crazy? What a man, you know, about 10 years ago, 10 years ago, we could not be standing up in a group with one another, like me, and drinking and having fun. That is what they tell me. So what is these young people that are vocal and they're following the politics? You know what's going on? They tell me, man, get no drink with all before you're going to, man. I put me in the plastic and I did not drink it. I tell her, I buy it. I know you're going to care about your drink, but don't you tell her right now because I'm going to the drug store to pick up some medication. Because I get the medication then where you are for the health center. And the young people are keeping focus with what's going on. Discipline, not Janelle. Not Janelle. Janelle turned it back on them. Janelle turned it back on them and they said, they're not going to vote Labour because they're not going to vote Labour with Douglas at the M. You understand? Because they believe if Labour win, Douglas come be the Prime Minister. And they ain't going back there. One of the people get shot down, and next one tell me he never get shot down. And all the engaging is saying all kind of different things, Patrick. The young people are involved and they never find on. And they tell me, Harris is the man. Patrick, you have a wonderful celebration of Kitts-Nevis. And God bless the PLP. And people rally with the PLP. Because the PLP, Dr. Harris and the PLP save the young man, save the young woman. Some of them fatherless because the young father gonna let them, they can't come again. And they want to go back to the stage again, Patrick. Again.
Thank you very much, caller. My people, in these difficult times and periods of uncertainty, St. Kitts and Nevis cannot, underline, St. Kitts and Nevis cannot gamble our future with the leadership of Sean Richards and or Mark Brantley. St. Kitts and Nevis cannot gamble with those two, as Dumpling Harris would say, vagabonds, and put them back into the parliament to run this country, having indulged in impropriety. These are the issues we face, and we must face them with dignity and with certainty. Caller, I want to thank you for holding. You are live. It's 11 minutes before the 10 o'clock hour. Hello, caller?
Mr. Liburd.
Yes, my dear. How art thou?
They put laughing. Never seen and heard that before. Oh, God. And who set them up have their cunning, have nothing to lose. The Prime Minister get the second. Why vex? And people get in to talk. Nobody stop them from getting. And the Prime Minister is a bad man. Only now all of them know for the good he doing, they do why around. Get down from around him if you don't want him. Mr. Kane's poor soul with a shame today. Thank you. Have a good night. Get home safely.
Thank you very much. That sounds again like Alice in Wonderland. And you're so right. It is difficult. It is difficult, really, for anyone to conclude that Prime Minister Harris did a bad job. Prime Minister Harris tackled our public debt. He tackled the crime, and he managed the country so well during a pandemic, one we have not seen or experienced in 100 years. There's no template for that, and he did that. My people, these are unprecedented times. These are not ordinary times. The road ahead will be extremely difficult. And for that reason, we must ensure that we elect strong, bold, decisive, tested, and matured leadership. Who is the best leader for a better St. Kitts and Nevis? Who you think fits that bill? These are some of the questions we have asked for tonight. There has been a particular and resounding view. When we look at Sean Richards, and again, I mean no disrespect to my members and friends of the People's Action Movement, but you must agree, he has failed PAM. Worse yet, he has failed the country with all these improprieties surrounding him. Come on. What is left of Pam? As Dumpling Harris would say, the two vagabonds, Lindsay and Jonelle. But they too have failed Pam, and by extension, they have failed the country. Lindsay has had 3 strikes, and he must be out. Something has to be wrong with the character of our people if we can elect a Lindsay Grant and a Jonelle Powell back to office. Something has to be wrong with that. Caller, it's 8 before the 10 o'clock hour. I'll give you back some time because we started late. You are live on Straight Talk, and I'm asking who is the best leader for a better St. Kitts and Nevis. You're live, caller.
Patches, you got to be Timothy Harris, you know. Fucking no. One of them could do with it, too. The man understand politics. And I'm warning these people, you know. They think it's people. Do you? This ain't a batch of politics, you know. This is about our children's future. Better country, better future for the children them coming through. And put on that this country need leaders. Not matchers, not people who won't guess nothing. Somebody who know. This is what this country wants. If I out of that and into this, the country must understand. We want leaders. We don't want politicians. We don't want jokers. We don't want people who follow people and mash up countries. When you got a leader, that's why you're running behind Dr. Timothy Harris, because he is a leader. He displayed that. You know, pass them people like how leaders, whatever leaders do. I want to know something down in the government headquarters and they turn boom, you know. All of a sudden these guys head swell. Man, put a friend in position where they shouldn't be. Yeah? Look at the port and people try to justify that. But it's a big, poor, hard-working workers working $1,800. And they bring some people and they give them 20s. That's management. That's management. That's a shame. Mr. Graham, the first manager at the port. I don't know what I'm to think it. Graham, the first port manager, the pilot that was standing over the United Nations when Mahal Point done the port. He got the first book of ship, book of land, dock right up there. To the dock up the P up there. God bless him. If you're listening, Mr. Graham, this is Jam down here. But let me show you something in the patches. This person will leave you, you know, because we're going to give him the power. Because I want you in public infrastructure. And just don't leave the tongue where you get up there where the tongue vote. I want to know how it's done too. Because we put a man there and he failed us miserably. And we're going to put a young man who we know from the ghetto and we'll look out for poor people. This is not a fun thing. This is serious times. Have a good night, Patches. God bless Timothy.
Have a good night, my brother. We go straight back to the lines. Caller, you live. Hello, caller.
Yeah, good night. Patches, could you tell me what is the relationship of the current lady running for NRP is to the national hero of Nevis, please? The relationship between the two. Appreciate it.
Could you say that again? Could you repeat that question? Well, it wasn't too clear, but I hope I got him right. He's asking, I believe, what is the relationship with the leader running for NRP? That's Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge. And if that's the question you ask, I believe, and I stand to be corrected, that Janice Daniel Hodge is the daughter of the national hero of Nevis, Simeon Daniel. I hope I got your question right, and in so doing responded accurately as well. But my Straight Talk family, as we wind down, I'm going to give you back the time because we started a little late tonight, And for those who joined us as well after the start of the program, we looked at the best leader for a better St. Kitts and Nevis. And in the process, we reflected on what continues, or what has transpired, I should say, since our last dialogue, since our last conversation. Lots of rumors have been spreading, but last week, Thursday, there was no straight talk because ZIZ wanted to use all the platforms for the Jubilee function, whatever it was. And Monday, I tried to get on board with you, but my equipment malfunctioned. But in between that time, politicians have continued to trade blows at each other. And I sat in the cabinet with these politicians in particular. And I asked myself, are these the same people with whom I sat in cabinet? The lies that are being spewed by these politicians, you wonder, why are they behaving the way they are behaving, like little boys? And the truth is, they have so many things in their closet, and it will all come out, because what's in the dark will come out in the light. And I say, God forbid, in 2022, after these premature elections, that's due anytime now, I believe it's due before the 11th of August. Don't know when it will be called. But God forbid that these men get re-elected to Parliament. The country must teach them a lesson. For mashing up a good thing. They have mashed up a good thing, my straight dog family. And as we prepare for these premature elections, mainly because of two misleaders who we have since found out are just hungry for power and money. One of them could not wait his turn, went to the Governor General, demanding that he replace the successful incumbent Prime Minister Timothy Harris and appoint him. And when the Governor General said he would seek advice, so S.W. Tapley Seaton, LLB, LLM, QC, I don't know the rest, CMG and so on, he helped to write the Constitution, a most successful Attorney General the country has ever seen. And because the Governor General Sir Tapley Seaton did not get swayed by the bad advice brought or given to Sean Richards and his gang of 6, he said the Governor General must go. He's not working with the Governor General. Is that the kind of leader we want? We want that kind of leader who has run down Skellig. We want the kind of leader who could not deliver a Bastille High School. I said to you before, had he stayed out of the way, the Bastille High School would have been constructed in our first term. Remember, he had all these pictures when he came into the RLB International Airport. There was Sean Richards on a big billboard. Bastille High School coming soon. That was 4 or 5 years ago. And now he has been fired. I just learned the Bastille High School, that construction would start imminently. That's a big word. It would start right away. Look at the solar farm. A power purchase agreement was signed over 2 years ago. What has held up the solar farm? a farm that would generate 36 megawatts of power or electricity. 30% of the electricity demand in St. Kitts and Nevis. Why it has not started? These guys are not fit for office. The other one has committed political suicide. He wants to put his hand on the CBI money. I told you before that in our first meeting after the 2015 elections, Lindsey Grant from nowhere, out of nowhere, stood up amongst the elected representatives and said if he demanded rather that he be given responsibility for the CBI, the Citizenship by Investment Program. And this man's firm, his law firm, had done so much business with the CBI. There must have been a conflict of interest. And when this was brought to the attention of Lindsey Grant, you know what was his response? Then he won't sit with us in the parliament. He'll be a backbencher. I had to tell this short individual, because where he was sitting, he sat next to me. I raised my hand and I said, sit down, my brother, sit down. There's no backbench or backbenchers in the St. Kitts-Nevis Assembly. You're either on the government bench or you're on the opposition benches. So make up your mind. And he quieted down. So it's a long time they have eyed they put their focus on the CBI revenue. Lindsey Grant, you saw him put up some pictures for the Old Road Bay project belatedly. When Lindsey Grant had promised us, he told the country we would have an underwater hotel in Old Road. How many of us remember that? And Lindsey Grant did not support the Old Road Bay project because he said that was part of the underwater hotel to be situated in Old Road Bay. That project never, the investors for that project was some underwater hotel. Never wanted to even do an EIA, an environmental impact assessment. Lindsey Grant must tell us about that underwater hotel he was going to bring here. He brought to the cabinet some men wanted to literally give away our airport for some international hub. The only thing or only person who came to the cabinet, if that was someone of any value, was some gentleman who said he was the transport secretary for Bill Clinton. But a nonsense proposal which was dismissed. We got Ernst & Young to assess the proposal, and the consultant literally peed on the proposal. I remember Mark Brantley asking, so nothing is good in that proposal at all? And when he was told that nothing was good, Mark Brantley took that international hub to Nevis. Remember that? With John Powell as some managing director for this firm they set up. They all had their eyes on one prize, the money, the people's money. And it's sad for me to say these things. And I want to ask our people, especially young people, we have to be careful, because these men, they operate without scruples. They seem quite comfortable to employ scampish ways, also to engage unscrupulous partners, to dip their hands in the people's money, also to steal the people's goods. Despite all these shenanigans, I must remind you as well, my people, that we are living in a world. We are living in a world that is filled with complexity, unpredictability. We are living in a world that's filled with uncertainty. And the truth is, under Dr. the Honorable Timothy Sylvester Harris, our economy is on the mend. Our economy is on the mend. And we have already achieved a good number of our set objectives. Let us continue to strive for a stronger, safer future. Recall, we inherited a country that was under the clutches of the IMF. St. Kitts-Nevis was ranked as the highest debtor nation in the world, with a debt to GDP ratio of nigh 200%. It was the brilliant stewardship of Dr. Harris who managed the economy with sound fiscal prudence. And I know I offend some of you when I say that, but it is the truth. I have to speak the truth, nothing but the truth. COVID-19 came. Who anticipated COVID-19? One of the gravest challenges, if not the gravest challenge that our country has ever faced. And look at how Harris dealt with that, his leadership. Look at what we are facing now. The Russian invasion of Ukraine and its economic fallout. What has derived? Escalating fuel costs. Obviously, most Kittitians are taken aback at what they must pay at the pump. And thank God to the genius of Harris. Thank God to the new Deputy Prime Minister and Minister with responsibility for Skellig, who has bailed out Skellig and in the process has helped us as a country.
The cost of fuel, which is a major input that drives the generation of electricity, that cost has doubled and would have cost you more in your pockets if the government had not intervened. We have intervened by bailing out Skellig. Government is paying for the fuel. And by government paying for the fuel, government is saving you in your pocket. At least for the month of May, it is estimated something like $5 million. Had it not been for the intervention of government, Skellig will probably be forced to put on what we call a surcharge, and then you will really feel it in your pocket.
That's what governance and government is all about. Looking after the people. My people, in these difficult times and periods of uncertainty, St. Kitts-Nevis cannot gamble with our future, cannot gamble with the leadership of Sean Richards and or Mark Brantley. Mark Brantley is currently overseeing a country that is heading towards a failed economy. A $460 million, nigh $500 million public debt in Nevis. The NIA don't pay the National Bank. A budget he tabled just a few months ago with a $98 million deficit. Imagine, he proposed to spend $229 million, out of which $189 million is recurrent expenditure. the rest for capital expenditure. But how can you have a project, Mark Brantley, without a budget? If you are going to conceive a project, you must have to, of course, look at the source of revenue. There can only be three sources, Mark Brantley: a loan, a grant, or from revenue. But if you can't generate revenue to complete your projects, then how would you complete the hospital? Go back to the drawing board, Mark Brantley. Divisions, Mark Brantley is not good for you. And I say this with respect to all my friends of the CCM. Mark Brantley is a bad leader for the CCM, worse yet for the country. And the country must punish them. Under Mark Brantley, the Nevis economy has gone into recession. He has run Nevis broke. And instead of addressing that issue, Mark Brantley, like a little boy, has chosen to discuss and boast about his blue suede shoes, his expensive watch, and expensive suit. My Straight Talk family, these are serious times. Yes, Mark Brantley has found a convenient ally in Sean Richards. I say convenient because Sean hated Mark. I know that. And my heart goes out to Sean Richards, but he has lost a golden opportunity to become the next leader of this country. But Sean got bad advice when he chose to boycott the cabinet for 91 days. His relationship with Hansard Isles, we're going to hear plenty more about that, my Straight Dog family. But on the other side, Terrence Drew is overshadowed by Denzel Douglas, simply the best, he calls himself. Across the Narrows, Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge, someone recommended she leads the country. But in time to come, a woman will lead us, I'm sure. But they are in search, they imagine a better Nevis, and NRP will reconnect with the peoples of reconnect, I should say, the peoples of St. Kitts and Nevis. How did we get here? We know. We are here because of 6 irresponsible politicians, and we need to weed them out of the parliament in St. Kitts and Nevis, of the federal parliament. 2 of them, Lindsey Grant and Donald Powell, we must teach them the 10 commandments. And we must tell them, as per the 10 commandments, thou shalt not steal. One built Noah's Ark, Sean Richards, the rundown Skelec, $31 million. In his ministry, a hut was built for $250,000, worth $50 million. He said he don't know. The Old Road lights, Old Road Beck project lights have disappeared. There's a 3-month delay. My people, these are unprecedented times. These are not ordinary times, my people. The road ahead is difficult, extremely difficult. And for that reason, we must choose strong, bold, decisive, tested, and mature leadership. I've heard you tonight. There was a resounding support for Timothy Sylvester Harris, who, you have said to all and sundry, is the best leader for better St. Kitts and Nevis. That's my story for tonight, my Straight Dog family, and I am not going to change it. I just want to thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight, and as always, I want to thank you, the callers, those who sent emails, those on social media, YouTube and Facebook. Remember, you are the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that reason, I say a big thank you. I am Ian Patches Liburd, and God's willing, we will connect on Monday for another edition of Straight Talk. Until that time, Be good to yourselves and to all whom you meet. Remember that whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you must believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Dog family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Monday for another edition of Straight Talk. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend.
In the morning, I thank God for the morning light.